Testing 1 2. What's going on, traders? Johnny back with another live day trading session. Today is Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. It is 7:28 my time. So, yeah. Let's see what the market offers today for us. All right. Trade ideas. I did post that AMD was down after earnings. AMD is down, I believe, 10% right now. AMD, yep, down 11% from yesterday. So not good. It did not beat its earnings. So this was after earnings. Down 11 or 12%. Whereas SMCI, on the other hand, is up 11%. So you just never know with these companies. Looks like about 13% on this one, whether they're going to be up or down. So that's why I don't usually trade earnings. But if that's something that you find value in, then you're more than welcome to, of course, trade earnings, buying companies before they release their earnings, right? Could be a big gamble. Uh, Market is officially open. QQQ is also down about 0.37% from yesterday's close, but from yesterday's high, it's actually down 2.5% still. So not looking good, selling off even more. The VIX index pushed up to 20 yesterday. It's now at 18. So remember, when the VIX index gets to 20 or higher, you can see more selling pressure and more volatility in the stock market. Bitcoin is also down. It's to 75,000. So that is lower, which means MSTZ is all the way up to $20.88. Wow. That is amazing. It's up another 6%. How high can this go? Gonna buy 10 shares right here. 2091. Now Bitcoin is below Michael Saylor's moving average. His moving average is around 76,000. So it's now below his moving average, which is just insane, guys. So we'll see if this is an overreaction or if this is just a beginning. MSTZ is up another 5% as MSTR is down. See what happens if this begins to push up higher. If it does, then we could always manage our risk and get out, or we can buy some more. Buy another 10 right here at 20.50. Shoot. I hate when I do that. I need to actually make the default setting to market, not limit, because every time I switch across, it'll go back to limit, and then if it's not around 2082 or 2084 at the time, then it won't get filled. Just gonna have to buy up here at the top, dang it. 2090. Dang it. Totally missed my entry down at 2050. 2050, 2060 even. 2% in literally a matter of seconds. You guys saw that. I went to go do a market order. I switched a look at Bitcoin and MSTR, and then it went back to limit order. So that's something I definitely need to switch as far as my settings goes. Maybe I could do that right now, because that was ridiculous. That happens to me far more than I'd like. There we go. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, I can't believe that happened. Cannot believe that happened. I hate when that happens. It's happened to me a few times. My entry at $20.50 or $20.60 would have been beautiful. That would have been 50 cents. Either way, hope you guys are all having a great start to your day. Let me know in the comments what stocks you're watching and looking at. See, it's still switched back. So I'll go to MSTR and then I'll go back to MSTZ. Okay, it's not going to switch anymore. Cool. It's like MSTR is going to pump up with Bitcoin slightly here. Yeah, I can't believe that. Should have had a nice 2050, maybe 2070 average. And that did not happen. Now remember, MSTZ is up to 2116. You know, it had trouble breaking out of 1888 for a while. So it may come back down to retest. Doesn't have to. But it could. MSTR down to 126.74. That is its new support. Right there. Bitcoin. We'll see what happens here. Bitcoin down to 72,934. That is insane. Just put it right here at 928. See if it breaks back above. There we go. Bitcoin can recover, so we got into MSTZ just a little bit too soon. I wanted to catch this rally. I missed my entry at 2050 and 2060. Could have bought more down at 2030. Also missed that entry. Go buy a few more. Would not recommend copying this trade. It's a very overbought setup. It could come down very quickly. I do believe MSTR could sell off more though, so I am trying to be patient. Bitcoin dropped down to 72,934 at around midnight. Tried pushing all the way back up to 76.7, and it's been having trouble getting above that as a descending pattern. As you can see, somewhat of a descending pattern. Well, we can go off of, I guess, this point here. You guys can see that. Basically going right off of that 45 EMA, the blue line. Same with MSTR, continuing to sell off. Yeah, I can't believe how high of a price point that I bought into, man. That really makes me sad. Cost base is 2089. I bought at 2093 and 2094. You try to get this bounce at 2050. Shouldn't even bought there. I could have just waited for this dip down to 2022 and had a nice low average, but I don't want this thing to shoot up without me. It definitely can. Especially if Bitcoin is going to continue to consolidate and kind of sell off in this slow descending manner. MSTR will continue to sell off as well. Doesn't mean it has to, but it definitely can. So with 2089 average, got 23 shares right now, about $478. Almost 500 bucks. I don't want to go full size just yet. QQQ selling off from 614 down to 613.26. Kind of has this lower or higher low, so we'll see if that continues. Market begins to recover. SQQQ, very nice. We did call this out a couple of days ago, talking about buying, you know, and holding up to 70s, even 71. We talked about it in our Sunday stock talk as well. That is up 10%. 10% just a few days. If you bought and down at 61 to $62, you're up about 12% currently. So depending on when you bought and decided to short the market, it is technically up. Plug getting rejected off of that 200-day moving average, or the green line. AGNC also getting rejected off of that line as well. We'll see if it can get above it or if it will continue to sell off. SoFi still selling off to new lows of $21. Netflix selling off to new lows of $79.50. Hood selling off to new lows to $82.44. Oracle also selling off. That kind of just seems to be the overall market in general. You know, Nvidia down to 176. The overall market is just selling off and taking everything with it. Now Amazon does report earnings this week. I believe it's tomorrow. Amazon reports their earnings, and then SMCI reports as well. Let's go ahead and take a look in our economic calendar. Apple pushing up. It's up 2.5% this morning. That's amazing. Actually, did Apple report their earnings already? Let's go ahead and take a look at our weekly economic calendar. No, Google Alphabet will report their earnings after close. So that is Google, which they're holding above their moving average, but we'll see if that does hold today after market close. Uber reported their earnings this morning. Let's take a look at Uber. Ooh, ouch. Uber down 5.5%, down even more than that. It's down 11%, recovered all of it, was up about 3%, and then now back down 5, almost 6%. So dang, not good for Uber. To get LLY. Now LLY looking pretty good. They reported their earnings after close, or actually before open today. They're up 10, almost 11% right at open, and now they're only up about 7%, but that's still really good. Tomorrow after close, Amazon and MicroStrategy will be reporting their earnings, so I'm excited about that. Go to take a look at Bitcoin, see what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin's still hovering around 75,100, which means MSTZ is kind of in the same area. I'm going to put this as a support for now, just because there's a lot of consolidation there yesterday. And then 2116 I will put as a common resistance. You know, obviously MSTR trying to bounce off at 126.74 from yesterday's low. We'll see if it sells off even more or if this holds. But if Bitcoin continues to sell off, then of course MSTR will just follow. And of course, if the market begins to sell off too and continues its selling pressure, then MSTR will go down as well. Andrew, good morning. Good morning. If there's one person that's super consistent with showing up in the morning as much as I am, it's Andrew. So congratulations to you showing up to the market every day at market open. Whether you trade or don't trade, it's always good to just show up, because you never know when an opportunity is going to present itself. I noticed, you know, I'd show up 4 out of the 5 days, you know, like let's say last year I didn't have a lot of consistency. I show up 4 out of the 5 days, you know, kind of get a flat market, and then it didn't matter if it was a Tuesday or a Thursday or a Monday or a Friday. If I missed one day, that usually was a day when you'd get, you know, 10% moves on the stock you were watching, and you're like, dang, I should have showed up. So congrats to you, man. That's something to be, you know, proud of, that you're able to show up and start to build that consistency with the market. All right, we got about close to $500 in this trade. You should have seen earlier, Andrew, I went to go buy at 2050 right here on this big red candle, buy a few more shares to average down. And I flipped over to look at Bitcoin one more time, flipped back, hit buy, and this switched from market to limit order. And it was like already up to 2080 by the time I looked, and then I didn't get filled. It went up to 2090, and then I was like, wow, I missed the entire freaking move because I did a limit order instead of a market order. So from 2050 up to 2113, that was a 3% move in about 2 or 3 minutes. It happened so fast, and I missed out on all of it because these market types right here. So just remember that if you're not careful, you switch between certain companies and then go to switch back, make sure you're looking to see it didn't switch back to limit. I did fix it now, so when I, you know, say I switched it from limit being my default to market being my default. So now that I switch back, if I'm on limit, it'll go to market, but I hardly use limit orders in general. I'm not even sure why it was on the default setting. Yeah, 3%. That was a beautiful move in 3 minutes. 63 cents a share. Could have been $63 on 100 shares in 3 minutes. So, looks like Bitcoin is still not doing much. It's not really recovering. It's just kind of here around that $75,000 mark. MSTR trying to push up. We'll see. I mean, it still can push up a little bit here. Let's see what QQQ is doing. It's pushing up with QQQ, to be honest. And MSTR will do that too. Let's see, what was the news on Bitcoin just now? CleanSpark released its unaudited operation update for January, reporting production of 573 Bitcoin. The company achieved peak single-day Bitcoin production of 21 Bitcoin and an average daily production of 18 Bitcoin. Their operation hash rate was 50 hash rates a second. CleanSpark held 13,500 Bitcoin as of January 31st and sold 158 coins, generating $14 million at an average price of 91,000. They're going to use that money to buy 447 acres in Brazoria County, Texas, which plans for a data center supporting an initial 300 MW demand load. Okay, so they're using some of their proceeds to buy land and to build another data center. So it looks like they're going to be doubling down on, of course, mining Bitcoin. Of course, when you mine Bitcoin, yes, there is some operational cost, especially when you get giant data centers like that. But if you can mine Bitcoin, you're really paying for, electricity at that point. And if your electricity costs less than how much you're producing in Bitcoin, then it's almost like getting free Bitcoin or an extremely discounted rate. So instead of buying Bitcoin, you're actually mining it. You're basically creating it out of thin air, right? You're trying to crack the code to get the Bitcoin. And I don't think there's a lot of Bitcoin left. I'm not mistaken on how much Bitcoin is left to mine. Oh, okay. There's still a lot actually. As of now, there is 1.5 million Bitcoins that are left to be mined, which represents about 5 to 6% of the total supply of 21 million Bitcoin. So there's 21 million Bitcoin, which means that it could be expected to be completely mined out around 2140. 2140 is a long time. So at the beginning, it was easy to mine Bitcoin, and now it's getting much harder toward the end. But that's crazy that it's going to take, what is that, like 100 years, 115 years to mine the last 1.5 million Bitcoin. Although in the last, 30 years, 20 to 30 years, over 20 million Bitcoin has been mined. I don't know. That seems kind of odd to me. Okay, Bitcoin beginning to still sell off. MSTR selling off, which means MSTZ is up, which means we're up 1% on our small position. There we go. Bitcoin falling. I wonder if QQQ is also falling. Man, I got a really bad average. Okay, Bitcoin or Yeah, well, Bitcoin and QQQ, overall NASDAQ is selling off. Just, I can't believe my average. I could have had like a 2060 average, even a 2070 average. I'm at like 2083 as my average. At 2060 average, I ought to be up 3%, man. That's crazy. And then I didn't buy more shares down here at 2042. That would have been nice. So we're going to sell 10 right here at 2130. We're almost at 2% on this very small trade. I'm just to the point where like MSTR is so oversold that it could pump up for no reason. Bitcoin is oversold. I mean, it could come down a little bit more, but could also pump up for no reason. The markets are oversold where they can recover very easily. So it's like take your profits when you can. Don't be afraid to lock in profits. See, it's already down 15 cents. And we're going to sell right there. It's very choppy. You know, at one point we're up 2%, you know, $10. Crazy. Crazy how choppy it can be. Could always buy more shares, but yeah, I'm just going to get out of it completely, honestly. I mean, 3 shares really isn't that bad. I mean, what did I even get filled at? That is ridiculous. I got filled at 27 and 22 instead of 30. The spread isn't bad. It's only like a 1 cent spread. Could also do a trailing stop, right? I mean, it's not a heck of a lot of shares. So we could sell a stop on it. Let's see, chart settings, open orders, and then as it goes up, we can increase. Wow, look at that. Pushed up to 2044. Beautiful. Sold at 2022. Another 1%. 2150. MSTR is selling off. Bitcoin's not even doing anything, and MSTR is just selling the heck off. I'm gonna put my stop up to 2142. This is what I should have did with all the other shares, right? So almost up 2%. I'm gonna bring this up to 2150 just to do it. Just to showcase the power of raising your stop loss. Wow, 2160. Oh my goodness. I think it was 2083 my average. Yeah. 4% from my average. I locked in about 2%. I'm going to raise this stop up even more to 2159. What a great move. Pushed up. Got rejected off of previous resistance from yesterday. Came back down to test the 45 EMA. Validated it as a support. Pushed up. Validated as a support again. And from 2046 to 2166, $1.20 per share, or almost 6% profit on MSTZ. Beautiful. I made $9, you know, almost 10 on a very light position. But, you know, even $500 at 5% would have been a nice, like 25 bucks. $1,000 would have been about 50 bucks. And then if you would have went with 100 shares, you would have made $121. But MSTZ is at $21 now. Remember when we were trading it at, $10, $12, $15, even $17 the other day? That would have been 1,700 bucks for 100 shares. Now it's $2,100 if you want to buy 100 shares. So it's definitely up there. And as you know, I do have some swing trades. I do have some swing trades that have, around $1,000 in value right now. So it's crazy to see QQQ back down to $610. We called it out. We did let everyone know when it peaked here at 637 that this could come back down to 610, maybe even 600. And there it is, down to 610. That means SQQQ is about to hit $70. Beautiful. Beautiful move here. That is up almost 14% in a week since we called it out on our Sunday Stock Talk. Up $8.50. So, 100 bucks at 60 would be 600, or 100 shares. And then 100 shares now at 70, that'd be 700. So that's $100 in profit right there on 100 shares. No, actually that's more. No, that's right. No, that would be more. That'd be $1,000, right? So if you had 100 shares at 60, let's go to limit. Yeah. 100 shares at 60 would be 6,000. And 100 shares now at 70 would be 7,000. So that's $1,000 in profit in a week on 100 shares. Amazing. QQQ down to 609. Honestly, AG&C is holding up pretty well, holding above 1115. Market's selling off, but AG&C is still holding around 1150. Now I did get paid out, or I haven't got paid out yet, but it's like pending. $4.72 in dividends, which is really cool because remember we did capture those dividends of 12 cents per share, which means, let's see, it's showing on my phone. For some reason it's not showing on the computer right now, but when it does I'll show it to you guys. Let's see, what the heck? Right now it's not showing it. Well, I won't get them until, I thought it was like February 4th or something like that. It's weird. Well, maybe they haven't paid it out yet. But 12 cents on, what, 30 shares? 0.12 times, I think I had 20 at the time. About $2.40, so not a lot. Netflix trying to hold around 79.60. SoFi still continuing to sell off. It's down to 20.81, and Hood down to $80. It's insane how far Hood has sold off from when I bought it. So QQQ down to 608 and still dropping. Honestly, that means the VIX index should be a little higher. It's around 18. Not too bad. Crypto continuing to sell off, so a nice selling pressure, potentially down to that 73,000 mark again. MSTR continuing to sell off, making a new low from yesterday even. So a new low on MSTR down to 124.70. Down 55 on my hood swing trade. Yeah, brother, I hear you there. I'm down, I'm actually down a pretty penny too. So, I've considered getting out of the swing trade for a while, but I realized, I could always just buy more as it goes down. Yeah, I mean, it's down another 7% just today. I'm down 24% overall, or $158 on my swing trade. So, you could buy more down here at 80s. We could wait for it to recover. But right now it's down because of the crypto market. And of course, QQQ overall is down. But I know, I guarantee as soon as I sell, it's going to start to push up. It happens all the time. If I would have been more of a, if I wasn't swing trading it, I would have cut it at, 5%. That's about my max loss when I'm day trading. But because I'm swing trading it, we gotta, condition ourselves and learn that this can happen, but then also know when to cut losses, right? When does it make sense to get out of this trade for you personally, right? But yeah, I mean, Hood is just a bloodbath right now. It's very sad to see. And it could technically come down to 60s. But I still believe in Hood. I mean, Hood has at least a business model. They at least have earnings compared to, MSTR. You're not holding MSTR. So it's a little different of a model. At least it does have potential to push up. So this says that it went down as low as $102 back in August of 2024. I mean, that could be a very solid support right there for MSTR. Not even a solid support, just an area that it could sell off to. I mean, if you think about it, it's back to previous 2024 prices. So it gave back all of its profits it made, over 361%, or $420, and gave it all back to right back where it is in 500 days. So about a year, in about a year, right? Because February 2024, it was trading at $30, $40, $100, and then it broke out to $100 the end of February, right? February 28th, pushed up, and it's all the way back down again. So crazy to see MSTR giving back all of its profits. They will be reporting tomorrow as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how much lower this can go when they report their unrealized losses. Bitcoin starting to curl over. Make sure you guys know when to lock in profits. I already did. Wasn't a lot of profit. I missed my opportunity twice. Came down to 1230s and 1250s. I saw opportunity and I totally missed it. I missed it literally right here at open. I went to go buy a market order at 2050. I hit limit order, it pushed up to 2060. By the time I canceled the limit order to be able to buy the market order, it was already up to 2090. I bought in this area and then I sold at this resistance here. So I only locked in like 2% on a $500 trade, made just shy of $10, when in reality I could have got a lower price point, held a little longer, and been up, 6 or 7% compared to 2%. Could have made $40 on a very small trade compared to 10. So it happens. We still locked in profits, still a green day. Martin, hello. Got a new member here. Hey, let me see. Hey, mind you explain this, TR? What makes it an interesting stock? Just the volatility and hype, or are there other factors? Great question, Martin. I actually short MSTR by using a 2-time inverse leveraged ETF. So I'm actually shorting Bitcoin and MSTR as they both fall. The lower they go, the better for our position in MSTZ. And I trade MSTR because it is a BS company. It doesn't sell a service, it doesn't sell a product. All that MSTR does is hold Bitcoin. And it's been holding quite a bit of Bitcoin. Now, its average share price for Bitcoin, and we're talking like tons and tons of Bitcoin that Michael Saylor owns in MSTR, its average share price was around 76,000. So it broke its average share price today. And I could bring C MSTR average share price. And they've been selling off. I think it's just a BS company. I believe that it's almost like a Ponzi scheme. He wants to continue to basically leverage his shareholders' money by borrowing against the money that the shareholders of MSTR have put in, which technically lowers the value of the company. He's borrowing money against his investors and then buying more Bitcoin at elevated prices, which makes it quite sad. I mean, MSTR's average share price today, I don't know why it's not pulling up. It pulled up the other day. What is it? Because I don't have a big enough. MSTR's average share price. Which means it's just going to sell off more and more. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, so the company treasury for MSTR has 712,000 Bitcoin valued at 54 billion with an average of 76,000, okay? So 76,000 was his average share point. So the entire time he has been bullish on Bitcoin. He's been buying at crazy levels. He even bought some, I think, in the 90s. He bought some in the 100,000 range, and it hit 126,000 and then began to sell off. So his company has lost a significant amount of money. I mean, even just from that high, we're not talking about 543 back in November 20 of 24. We're talking about July of last year, July of 2025. It was up to $456. Now it's down to 125. So it's down 72%. 72%. Imagine buying up here, believing in Michael Saylor, believing in Bitcoin and MSTR, and now you're down 75% on your position. MSTR has a ton of bag holders, and this is just not something I see recovering anytime soon, especially with Bitcoin selling off so much. And it can continue to sell off. There's nothing saying Bitcoin can't continue to sell off. I believe Bitcoin can go much lower. It can go down to 60,000. I mean, heck, it could even go back down to 30,000. But, you know, a lot of people are saying around 60,000, I believe. So, yeah, good question, but it's crazy. It's crazy. I will continue to short it and get my money, right? These small moves here, very small, but that's a 7, almost 8% profit. $1.60 per share. So if you have 100 shares and you captured that move, you make $160. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Bitcoin trying to hold around 75,000. Had a very nice dip down to 73. And smash that like button for me, guys. We've been live for 45 minutes. I think that's where we're going to end the live stream here. Markets continue to basically sell off. We'll see if it can bounce off of this 610 level and we get a full recovery. That would be extremely nice for our swing trades. We'll see if Bitcoin holds around 75,000 or does it sell off some more. Remember, it sold off to 72,900 just last night at midnight, right? So we'll see if that continues. But other than that, I will be live again tomorrow morning for another live day trading session at Market Open. I appreciate your guys' time. And like always, remember, let's end the year on a green note. Later, team.